symbolic day according to the Chinese folk calendar. Today marks the beginning of spring Lichun. After this the frosts recede, renewal comes, and a new cycle in nature begins. And as for Russian-Chinese relations, it can be said with confidence that any time of year is spring. President Putin, my old and dear friend, I am very glad to meet with you at the beginning of the new year in this video conference format. Regardless of the international situation, I am confident in their strength and steady development in all areas. A steady, pleasant, and very symbolic day. I am pleased to have an in-depth conversation with you. Together, we can develop a new grand plan for the development of our bilateral relations.
For nearly 3 years, the war in Ukraine has redrawn global alliances, and at the center of that shift stands the deepening partnership between Moscow and Beijing. On February 4th, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping held a video call using the occasion to celebrate what they called a stabilising and strategic relationship publicly.
Esteemed Mr. Chairman, dear friend, I am glad that we are continuing the good tradition of our personal meetings at the start of the new year, when we sum up the results of the past period and outline plans for the future. All the more so, since today is such a symbolic day according to the Chinese folk calendar. Today marks the beginning of spring Lichun. After this the frosts recede, renewal comes, and a new cycle in nature begins. And as for Russian-Chinese relations, it can be said with confidence that any time of year is spring. And I would like to personally congratulate you, and through you, the entire friendly Chinese people on the New Year 2026 and the upcoming holiday, the Spring Festival, which will usher in the Year of the Red Fire Horse. As we know, it is characterized by strength, energy, and a drive to move forward. This is what distinguishes the ties between our countries. Regardless of the international situation, I am confident in their strength and steady development in all areas. The comprehensive Russian-Chinese partnership and strategic cooperation is exemplary. This year, we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Treaty of Good Neighborliness, Friendship and Cooperation, which is fundamental to our relations. Its further implementation undoubtedly serves the fundamental interests of the peoples of both countries, contributes to strengthening the comprehensive and truly all-encompassing cooperation between Russia and China, and most importantly, improves the well-being of our citizens. Taking this opportunity, I would like to reaffirm my strong support for all our joint efforts to ensure the sovereignty and security of our two countries, their socio-economic prosperity, and the right to choose their own path of development.
Putin described China as Russia's key partner in a turbulent world, while Xi urged both nations to craft a grand plan to push ties even further. The conversation comes just days before the 4th anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, a conflict that has isolated Moscow from the West but drawn it closer than ever to Beijing.
President Putin, my old and dear friend, I am very glad to meet with you at the beginning of the new year in this video conference format. Today, according to the lunar calendar, we are celebrating Lichun, the beginning of spring. You just mentioned this. Lichun opens the cycle of the 24 solar terms and marks the return of spring to the earth, symbolizing a new beginning and hope. A steady, pleasant, and very symbolic day. I am pleased to have an in-depth conversation with you. Together, we can develop a new grand plan for the development of our bilateral relations. Recently, you specially sent Comrade Sheikhu to China to hold talks with our comrade Wang Yi. Also discussed international and regional hotspots in preparation for our meeting. Comrade Wang Yi has not reported yet.
Since the two leaders declared a no-limits partnership in 2022, China has become Russia's economic lifeline, expanding trade as Western sanctions tightened. Europe and Ukraine accuse Beijing of quietly aiding Russia's war machine, claims China firmly rejects. Many of America's closest partners are exploring opportunities with China following clashes with President Donald Trump over tariffs and his demands to take over Greenland from NATO ally Denmark. The Xi-Putin call followed visits by the British and Canadian Prime Ministers to Beijing last month, The German Chancellor is also expected to visit later this month. Putin, in his call with Xi, applauded China's decision to allow visa-free entry for Russians, their partnership in energy, including the peaceful use of nuclear power, and high-tech cooperation in space and industry.
Allow me to say a few words about the results of the past year. I believe we managed to celebrate with dignity in May in Moscow and in September in Beijing the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Second World War. The fact that we were together on these days demonstrated to the whole world our solidarity as well as the readiness of Russia and China to defend historical truth and to carefully preserve the memory of the heroic deeds of our peoples who, at the cost of tens of millions of lives, restored peace on the planet. China's chairmanship of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization also concluded with significant practical results, the culmination of which was the summit in Tianjin. During the negotiations in Moscow and Beijing, we thoroughly discussed the main directions and outlined ambitious tasks for further deepening our bilateral cooperation. On the government level, there has been daily energetic work underway to implement these agreements. Economic cooperation continued to develop steadily in 2025. Despite a slight decrease, or rather an adjustment in the figures, trade turnover has, for the third year in a row, confidently surpassed the significant milestone of $200 billion. Russia is among the leaders in supplying energy resources to China. Our partnership in the energy sector is mutually beneficial and truly strategic in nature. We are engaged in active dialogue in the field of peaceful nuclear energy. We are advancing high-tech projects, including in industry and space exploration. According to our data, the volume of trade in agricultural products has grown by more than 20%. We are also satisfied with the pace of expanding humanitarian exchanges. The years of culture held within this framework have concluded successfully. More than 400 vibrant events sparked genuine interest among citizens of both countries. Of course, we are not stopping there. And in particular, in the coming days in Moscow, as well as in other Russian cities, once again on a large scale, the Chinese New Year will be celebrated. Today I would like to exchange views with you on several major strategic issues. Throughout the course of this past year, we have had the opportunity to meet on two separate occasions. China-Russia relations are entering a new stage of development. We have celebrated for the third time the 80th anniversary of the victory in the World Anti-Fascist War, which demonstrates the determination of our countries to uphold the outcomes of World War II and international justice. Bilateral trade cooperation is developing dynamically and steadily, and cooperation in new areas is advancing at an accelerated pace. The cultural years of China and Russia have been successfully organized. Cultural and humanitarian cooperation has reached a new height. The risks of cancellation have become more pronounced. The SCO summit in Qingdao was successfully held, and the meeting of the SCO Council of Heads of Government in Moscow allows us to strengthen multilateral cooperation in order to continue our work on the creation of a multipolar world and a more just and rational system of global governance. This has also become a good tradition for us. And residents and guests of Beijing will get acquainted with Russian traditions of bidding farewell to winter at the Moscow Maslenitsa festival. The cross years of education have begun. Currently, more than 56,000 Chinese students are studying in Russia, and over 21,000 Russian students are studying in China. Dozens of joint educational institutions and specialized university associations are operating. At the same time, there remains significant potential for further expanding ties in this area, especially since the era of innovation and informatization dictates the need to train personnel in new, advanced fields. The introduction of a visa-free regime undoubtedly contributes to the growth of business and humanitarian contacts. I am grateful to you for this initiative, which we readily supported. As far as I know, since its implementation began, the relevant specialized agencies have not encountered any significant issues. As for the international situation, amid growing turbulence in the world, the foreign policy partnership between Moscow and Beijing remains an important stabilizing factor. We are ready to continue the closest coordination on global and regional issues. both on the bilateral track and across all multilateral platforms, at the UN, BRICS, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and others, where the Russia-China tandem often plays a key role. We wish you success and, of course, will provide all necessary support. Support for the Chinese chairmanship, for our Chinese friends in the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum. Dear friend, once again, Happy New Year and best wishes for the upcoming Spring Festival. Wishing you good health, well-being, and success in all your endeavors, and wishing the friendly Chinese people peace and prosperity. Thank you. The year 2026, the first year of our country's 15-year plan, China is ready to more actively expand its openness to the outside world at a high level and is ready to share new development opportunities with countries around the world, including Russia. This year also marks the 30th anniversary of the establishment of the China-Russia Partnership and Strategic Cooperation, as well as the 25th anniversary of the signing of the China-Russia Treaty of Good Neighborliness, Friendship and Cooperation, and also the launch of the China-Russia Year of Education. It is important to seize this historic opportunity to continuously strengthen strategic cooperation and to shoulder the responsibilities of major powers in order to ensure the steady development of China-Russia relations along the right path.